Hello, I'm Keith Preischer of the IoT M2M Council, or IMC, and I'm here at the inaugural Embedded World North America event with my good friend Cyril Lebel of Vodafone. Cyril, welcome.
It's good to be there.
It's the first event of its kind in North America. How's it going?
It's going really well, and it's exciting to be here in the US because we've been partnering for a long time, right? We've been Embedded World many times in Europe, and we've always had a very big presence in the US, but it's less well known. So for us to be here in the US, remind people that Vodafone is here in the US and we connect so many machines in the US is an exciting opportunity. So good to be here.
Great stuff. One of the things we hear a lot about, this is a very technical show, a very technical audience, and people are talking a lot about convergence. Convergence of 5G with satellite, convergence of 5G with LoRa, other low power, low bandwidth, low latency sorts of connectivity solutions. A lot going on there. Talk to us about that. You know, what is convergence and what is Vodafone doing to support it?
No, it's a good question. At the end of the day, convergence is indeed a very hot topic at this conference, right? But why do we even talk about convergence? It's all about what we want to accomplish for our customers, right? It's all about being able to connect anything, everywhere. So I'm not particularly technical, but I understand that for our customers, we need to make sure we can provide connectivity anywhere. So I know we're going to have a panel, we're going to discuss satellite, 5G, low power, and we're really excited to discuss about this because we, of course, come from a DNA at Vodafone of the terrestrial networks. We've been operating terrestrial networks for 2 decades, even more, right?
Also what we'd call traditional cellular, so to speak.
Traditional cellular, right? Although traditional cellular expanded to low power, right? Because at first, traditional cellular was to mostly provide coverage to populated areas. But when we start connecting things need to be connected in the populated areas and outside the populated areas, right? So this is why low power is such a game changer, enables us to provide connectivity in non-populated areas, right? But of course, in some cases, it's still not enough. So we are looking at convergence with satellite and other technologies. Now satellite and 5G, there's a lot of hype about it, right? But they are offering probably a lot of great things in the future, but today, most of the time, traditional cellular and low power has been enough to connect.
Sure, understood. But is it fair to say that convergence is all about ubiquitous coverage? I mean,
correct.
Right.
So at first, really, our USP at Vodafone was this global SIM that enables to roam on multiple networks anywhere in the world across so many countries, right? But if you think, for example, you come to the US and you are able to roam on multiple different US carriers, which is great, but imagine if, as a fallback, if there was no cellular network whatsoever, not even low power, if you could roam to satellite, how great would that be? Of course, there's a commercial impact, so we need to make sure that it's only last resort because it tends to be a lot more expensive, but depending on the use case, it can be very exciting, especially in the US, where you have a lot of dark spots where you have no coverage. If you think more about where we started in Europe, the need is less because Europe is so well covered. You don't have those big areas that you have in Americas, Canada, US, where you don't have cellular coverage.
So good segue, let's talk about the applications for that.
Yeah.
Even in Europe, you've got applications where there is no coverage.
It happens.
Maritime.
Wind farms, offshore wind farms. And,
talk to us about the
gas,
applications.
yes.
Where are we seeing convergence pop up first and foremost?
Yes, I think really those areas where you need to connect machines and you do not have terrestrial cellular network, right? I mentioned, for example, wind farms. We have a lot of offshore wind farms. So we've been working with different solutions. Sometimes we even bring a mobile private network there, right? But of course, satellite can complement this. You will see that in the oil and gas industry. So agriculture, you have like massive spaces to cover in agriculture where you don't always have terrestrial networks.
Yeah. Shifting gears, Vodafone talks about connecting anything, everywhere, and everything.
That's like our mission now. It's an ideal.
Good. Staying with that thought, let's talk about some of the really sort of cutting edge connectivity areas that Vodafone is heavily involved in. Talking now about automotive, healthcare. What's some of the latest and greatest on those kinds of applications that are really using?
Yeah. So of course, automotive has always been a core strategic focus for Vodafone, right? We're very proud to work with about every OEM in the industry, right? It started small to be able to do just diagnostic, maintenance, emergency calls, right? Now you have the whole entertainment in the car, basically Wi-Fi, and more we're pushing new applications with different partners, whether it's Google and others, right? So this is really has been exponential growth of usage, of use cases in the car. And the future is exciting.
Wow.
But it's not just about automotive, right? Everyone knows that automotive is important to MNOs. You have a lot of other verticals, right? Healthcare, for example, remote patient monitoring. In the US alone, we have millions of patients in the US which are monitored with Vodafone connectivity for all sorts of applications, whether that's for cardiac, diabetes, others. So healthcare is an important vertical for us. Smart utilities, smart meters, whether it's water, electricity, and of course, if you think about water where it's underground, satellite won't help, right? You won't have any satellite coverage. This is where narrowband IoT, CAT-M, all those low power technologies are a game changer.
Right. Automotive, healthcare, utilities, certainly major topics always in embedded world. So speaking with Vodafone's Cyril Lebel here in the Embedded World North America inaugural event at the IMC's IoT Pavilion. Cyril, thanks so much.
Thanks, Giz, for having me.
And thank you.